Europe is opening its borders not for migrants, but for armies. The EU has agreed on a landmark plan now dubbed Military Schengen. But why is this necessary? The Russia-Ukraine war exposed Europe's logistical weakness against Moscow's centralized, borderless military machine. Russia can redeploy divisions across thousands of kilometers in days, shifting entire formations from the Far East to Ukraine with remarkable speed. In 2022, battalion tactical groups crossed hundreds of kilometers overnight, overwhelming Ukrainian defenses before reinforcements could arrive. Europe, despite free movement for citizens and trade, discovered that tanks and convoys are delayed for weeks by paperwork, incompatible national rules, and fragile infrastructure. Bridges collapse under heavy armor, tunnels are too narrow, and customs officers treat ammunition like civilian cargo.
We cannot rely on the rest of the world. We have to build our own capabilities. We've started doing this with our European friends, with Germany, with the UK, the Italian initiative, ELSA. But we need more ambition, and we need to have a clear European preference in our program.
Military Schengen is designed as the direct answer to that weakness. It abolishes internal barriers that apply only to armed forces and military equipment. A single electronic request will replace dozens of national forms, and countries must respond within 3 working days in peacetime and within 6 hours in a crisis. The default answer will be yes, unless there is a clear reason to refuse. Heavy armor will move along pre-approved corridors where roads, bridges, tunnels, and railways are already strengthened or will be upgraded with EU money. Beyond paperwork, Europe is embarking on a vast program of infrastructure modernization. More than 500 sites have been identified for urgent upgrades, bridges strengthened to carry 70-ton tanks, tunnels widened for oversized vehicles, and railways adapted to handle both NATO standard and local gauges. Ports will gain heavy-lift cranes and direct ship-to-rail transfer facilities, while airports will expand runways and aprons to accommodate military cargo planes. These dual-use investments mean the upgrades will serve both civilian logistics and military mobility, ensuring that every euro spent enhances Europe's economy as well as its defense posture.
The goal of military mobility is to coordinate military deployments within Europe. A rapid response capability for deployments would also strengthen the EU to counter any Russian aggression.
Customs officers will no longer treat missiles and shells as ordinary hazardous goods requiring hours of civilian-style checks. Night driving bans and weekend restrictions for military convoys will disappear. Weight and height limits will be harmonized so that a vehicle legal in Germany remains legal when it enters Austria, Slovenia, or Hungary without modification. Railway platforms will be lengthened, different track gauges bridged, and ports equipped to unload heavy equipment directly from ships onto trains or trucks. The outcome of these reforms is decisive. Brigades stationed in Spain, Italy, or the Netherlands will be able to reach Europe's eastern frontier in a matter of days rather than months. The speed of deployment will be determined only by the physical capacity of trains, trucks, and aircraft, not by the length of time officials take to stamp papers or process permits. Civilian open borders will remain exactly as they are today for citizens and trade, but for soldiers and weapons, Europe will ensure that borders effectively vanish when rapid movement is required. The warning signs were already visible after Russia seized Crimea in 2014, but the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022 made them impossible to ignore. NATO exercises repeatedly revealed the same flaw. American, German, French, or Spanish units took a month or more to reach Poland or the Baltic states, not because of distance, but because every border demanded separate permits, different forms, weight restrictions, and customs inspections for ammunition and fuel. In several cases, the first tanks arrived after the exercise had already ended. Frontline countries realized that if a real crisis began, reinforcements from Western Europe would arrive too late. The Russian ability to mass forces quickly, as seen in the early months of the war, highlighted how Europe's fragmented system could leave its eastern flank dangerously exposed. The strategic logic behind this initiative is clear. Russia's advances in Ukraine demonstrated the power of speed and concentration in modern warfare. Ukrainian defenders often found themselves outflanked not because they lacked courage or determination, but because reinforcements arrived too slowly to counter Russian maneuvers. Europe cannot afford to repeat that mistake. By guaranteeing that reinforcements from Western Europe can surge eastward without delay, military Schengen is designed to deny any adversary the advantage of time and to ensure that Europe's eastern flank is never left vulnerable. Military Schengen is not about launching wars or projecting aggression. It is about ensuring that Europe can end conflicts swiftly if they are forced upon it. In the new security reality, the ability to move an army faster than an opponent can attack has become the strongest form of deterrence. Europe has decided that speed, efficiency, and unity in military mobility are not luxuries, but necessities, and that the capacity to reinforce its borders at pace is the most reliable guarantee of peace.